My first impression of Minecraft must have been like anyone else's. I mean, how could people get addicted to something like this? What is there to do that's so fun? How the hell do you dig up a mountain and store it in a chest? Nothing made any sense, but once I played for a while, things cleared up, and I found myself truly interested in how the world worked and the amazing sculptures and machines people could make. I first joined my friend's survival multiplayer server back in beta 1.3, when all we had to rely on were hearts and guts. It was a simple survival server with just a few plugins open to people within our network in high school. Back then we tore up the landscape learning how to play, and were repeatedly griefed by creepers and the occasional asshole. But we learned, we mined, smelted, crafted, and built so much. We did so much and expanded so far that the world file ended up at around 250 megs. And that's from only around a half a dozen people. The server is long gone. It ended around beta 1.6 when most of us headed off to college, which is why I had to use a hacked client to film it all. Yeah, we definitely spent way too much time in this blocky landscape, but was it worth it? Well, I had fun wasting time here, and as long as you enjoy it, that's what counts, right? This is a memoir / retrospect of my time on this server. I hope you have as much fun watching it as I did making it. This is the initial spawn area the World Seed gave us. We stayed here for pretty much half the world's lifespan. We all made our first houses somewhere near this place. All those bridges you see in the air were built over time. They started as just a few cobble rows spanning the sky between houses, but as more people built more permanent residences, they all connected themselves to this aerial network. My first house was actually in the opposite direction from everyone else's. I chose to climb all the way up a nearby mountain and start building outwards away from the cliff edge. I was definitely scared of mobs at the time. It started as just a giant cobble platform, and ended up as the house you see here. At the time I was quite proud of how I planned it out, but compared to what I built later, this was nothing. At first, the only way to get to my house was via the mountain itself, but that proved to be a pain in the ass for myself and others after a ton of deaths by skydiving. So I started at the house and built a short cobble path to the existing skyway. That's what we called it. Now I could run to the nearest house and get to mine in relative safety. Eventually I built another staircase near spawn to cut down travel time even more. The entrance to my mines was at the base of the mountain, underwater, to prevent mobs from wandering in after me. Since climbing the mountain was such a pain, I built a water ladder out of glass all the way up to my house. I don't remember which one it was, but after one of the updates, water ladders no longer worked. But back when they did, you could go up the thing so fast that you could kill yourself if you weren't careful. A short tour of this first house. This is the main entrance. To deter mobs, I built this ledge which you had to jump across to get to the house. Initially, it was just a cobble ledge, but I later added cacti and burning netherrack to spice things up. Quite a few people failed to make the jump across, but honestly it's not that hard. The chests by the entrance are for guests. I also had a small chest here for personal belongings. Behind the staircase are crafting tables and more chests for storing supplies and basic building blocks, along with a beautiful cacti farm made entirely from glass, not including the necessary sand and water. In the corner is the exit of the now defunct water ladder. Upstairs now. To the immediate left are the furnaces I smelt things with, along with a platform from which I can spot visitors and mobs. In the other direction are a bunch of beds, shielded from the rain and night by a glass roof. There's also a glass pool at the end of the level, along with a ledge I could jump off of for easy access to my mines. Lastly, I built a tree farm on top of my house, also covered with a glass roof. I left it open all the way at the end because I thought it would expand more, but I never did. There's also a door to the top of the mountain I built out from. Since everyone here was just getting started, we were all afraid of getting our stuff stolen. We devised our own clever ways to hide our chests. I hid a bunch of mine behind this lava fall centerpiece. I'm proud to say no one ever stole anything. This place is called Paradise Lost. That's because initially it was a really awesome resort-like house, until I built a nether portal right under the place. We had a mod that made the nether work in SMP beta, and I really wanted to go for a visit. Unfortunately, I didn't know that the portal made creepy noises when you were close to it. So now, no matter where you are in the house, you can hear the thing. So I named it that after I finished building it. The mob trap was my first ambitious project in Minecraft. I had studied a few of the ones posted on YouTube and started laying out a design. The majority of this cobble wasn't mine actually. I borrowed chest loads from friends who were more into mining, and I started building out from the skyway near my home. I built the base first with the help of water streams, then added levels on top of each platform so that there were 2 blocks of air between each level. Lastly, I walled off the trap and added the ceiling. By this time I had run my friend's drive cobble, so I had to resort to using dirt to fill the gaps. It was the first mob trap on the server that didn't utilize a spawner, and we got lots of goodies from it. It got griefed plenty, and later on, when signs were made flammable, the lava blades no longer functioned properly and the whole mob trap was rendered useless. But it served us well while it lasted. It was later superseded by a bigger mob trap built by 2 other friends on the server. The other mob trap I built targeted passive mobs, hence the unofficial name Mob Farm. I built this one lower to the ground since no one had any more cobble. I dug out pretty much the entire coastline up to a certain point, and began rebuilding from the ground up. I got plenty of cobble from digging out the place, so I lined the canals and platforms with it, leaving the top layer bare for grass. I had to build a path over from the edge of the trap for grass to spread from. 2 torches at opposite corners of each platform provided sufficient lighting for passive mobs to spawn at any time, while canals carried them down to the drowning station, where they would be slaughtered. The drowning station I built for this place had to be built underwater because the mob farm ended at the coastline. I lined it with glass and cobble to create a gradient so mobs couldn't surface or sink. The entrance is covered with sugarcane like my mines. There are 2 platforms on this floor for watching mobs, one to the left and one above the station. Since chickens can't drown, they remain at the water surface where they can lay eggs. Sometimes if they were lagging up the server or clogging up the trap, you could punch them dead through the iron door. On the next floor there's another viewing platform to the left as well as a punching and milking station, since back then sheep didn't drop any wool if they died on their own. Drops are received on the bottom floor, where they are carried to you via a water stream. Like the mob trap, there are many chests on this floor for storing drops, as well as furnaces to cook pork chops with for people who brought coal along. There are also beds on the upper level, along with a couple of my wolves and another viewing platform. This place was also griefed plenty, as can be seen by the random blocks within the trap left there by dumbasses who fell in, as well as broken glass and sugarcane in the station. Normally I would have cared a bit, but by then, I was long gone.